all, Seriously's here, loading into the game. Just started it up early because I really like this intro music. Reminds me a bit of Stranger Things. And I should already be at the place that I want to tour. So shouldn't be any harm in loading it up a bit early. Today we're going to look at my base on Ocean Beaches, which is a community hub planet in the GekNip Gang territory. Mainly hosted around KJPC Gaming. I believe it was even discovered by her on normal mode. But she has bases here on every version. Well, let's wait for things to load in a bit. Alright, let's see how it is. Once in a while, some of the items here fail to load, but I see the trees over there in the background, so everything's looking good, I think. Okay, here we are. This is the main landing pad area. It's a very, very nice Earth-like lush. It has an island chain ocean planet. So there aren't any huge continents, if that's your thing. I tend to like those ones, but this is beautiful. It apparently has really deep oceans, but I'm not much of an ocean explorer yet. We'll see how things go in the future, but I got a little bit of the ocean fear. You know how it is. So I managed to get these little guardrails up, and I cannot for the life of me remember how I did it. But they keep you from falling off, and they don't look too bad. They don't interfere with the ship at all. You don't really need them on this side. As you can see, we're pretty much touching the side of the hill on this side of the base. In fact, some of it has regrown into the carbon and facium domes, but it doesn't really get in the way. You can still harvest the 4 planters on that side and the ones on that side. And I built this place as a bit of a production facility. I wanted to put a bunch of biodomes in, but I didn't have any specific plans for which plants to put in. So at the time I built it, I just put the plants that I didn't have domes of other things for elsewhere in any of my builds. So I've got gamma root, and I think I even have some regular old star bulb around here somewhere, but nothing fancy dome-wise. And I'm collecting the 2 main resources this planet has, which is copper and silver. This base was still using the towers of supply depots. We get a little bit of a nice underlook. Sorry, there are ladders here so you can get up and down from the bottom. You do have to jump over the guardrail to get off the ladder at the top, but you can climb down it from the ledge if you're not careful. Unfortunately, these items, these foundation pieces, seem broken still, and that's really unfortunate because this looks really nifty when they all reach the ground. And since the ladder wants me to, let's take a look at the ground. This is down beneath. We have some supports holding everything up in place. We'll take a look at that bank room in a minute. That's where all the storage vaults are. Thick tower on that side because when these don't show up, it looks really weird, like it's not being held up by anything. So I wanted some thick support towers, at least somewhere around here. So let's go over to the side for a quick way back up, get away from that explodey plant. And it is a bouncy planet, which is cute as all get out. Of course, we got some cloud cover. Let's go into photo mode. Try to get a look at the whole base all at once. So I've got a bit of a promenade I've put in here with some trees. Got an even better view, and we'll take a look from that in just a moment. But that's the base there, just built into a bit of a cliffside. Or hillside, I guess. And I tried to find an area that was away from other players, so there's not too many bases. They probably won't show up in camera mode anyhow. But I wanted to find an area that was not quite a continent, but less of a tiny island, so that I could explore around, maybe on Exocraft if I wanted. So I'm in a bit of a valley here between two sections of the ocean. You can see the colors are just gorgeous. Very Earth-like. This is one of the first Earth-like planets I built a base on, not because I hadn't found any, but because I tended to avoid them. I was looking for things with flashy grass colors like blue and purple, stuff like that. But this is gorgeous. I've recently on my new save just found another Earth-like that has no water at all, and it's not even a moon. It's just a giant planet of blue grass. Of green grass and blue skies. But yeah, what a pretty planet. So I didn't mind coming to build a base here because it was a community hub. This is one of the first community hub bases I built. Just because I wanted to go somewhere that people had bases that I was familiar with, that talked to online, seen in people's live streams and such like that. So I wanted to have a place to meet up with those people, or at least share bases with those people. So this is the portal room right underneath the main biodome access. We'll go up through there and visit the promenade at the end. Here we have the vault room with some greedy Geks greeting you. Trade terminals and some health stations, and all of the storage containers. And some nice decoration, because what bank doesn't have decorations in it? And in the back, and this room here is actually part of the large support strut that heads down. So the rooms underneath don't have anything in them, but this one has the supply cache, save point, modifier, image modifier, and a bunch of barrels. Barrel fabricators are great. I'm sure I've mentioned them before. Apparently they always give the same item after they refill themselves, depending on where they're placed in the world. So you can always rely on one of those items to at least give you navigation data, for example. And I really like finding a place that gives navigation data, so you can just bring your ship. If you put one on a landing pad and it gives navigation data, you can get to this landing pad and summon in your ship even if you're not carrying any, which is really helpful. Okay, so these guardrails do help protect you from falling off the edge, but unfortunately you can't make this step. Oh wow, you can from this part. Excellent. Good to know, good to know. But this is a little bit of a tricky piece to get working, getting this ladder over this guardrail, these stairs over that guardrail, and connecting to a piece like this. Now, this base was built back in the day when I didn't know of a better trick to do this, so you can just place one of these supports on top of a hollow door or a regular door, and then you can snap a floor piece to that piece. And you can even remove this piece afterwards, but I sort of like how it looked, so I kept it. I do have a better way to connect a floor tile to a cuboid room, and I might go over that in a video later. It's just not in practice at this base. One more quick look into camera view. Oh, look at that planet, nice. You can see that the path of hallways I've designed is pretty much a single route. You can go either way. You'll get to the end, and you'll circle back around. And then you can go the other way. It's not exactly symmetrical, but it's got some symmetry, especially from the other side. So let's go take a look at that other side. The promenade, or whatever you would call this balcony sort of thing. Oh, and as you can see, the trees have disappeared. There's supposed to be trees in each of these as little planters. But here is the view from the balcony. It's great. As you can see, I've got my power station. Actually, I believe this one is for copper. Pretty sure silver and power go off in the other direction that way. Where the joiner is in the middle, you can see they're not exactly meeting nicely. There's a bit of a glitchery overlap that I've done here. I've had to use a couple of adjacency glitches to get the floors to be solid so that you won't fall through. And to cover that up, I've done a little trick with these floor mats where if you shrink one and put it on top of the other, it will cover up the floor underneath fully instead of having that gap. If you're using wood floor panels, you sort of need to do this trick because the floor pieces, the wooden planks, show up through the floor mat, and it's really weird looking. But with these metal pieces, it's fine to just put one down, but I wanted to cover up the weird glitchery underneath. Put up some guardrails so it's hard to fall through on this side, even though they're just visual. That lamp helps you keep you in. If you go behind the couch on one of these corners, you can fall through. We got some nice viewing areas. The trees are here on this side. That's what they look like on the other side too when they show up. And one last thing at the Ocean Beach's base is the room above the bank. You might have noticed it's a sort of interesting looking room, but there's nothing in it or no way into it, not at least from the bank. Oh hey, look, there's Jeff's live space. So we have this little overly decorated outside of a room, but there is no access to it. And you can see there's some neat roof phasing going on with these pieces. Placing them like this gets rid of that little overhang that happens if you place them side by side. And unfortunately, there's no curving down and curving like a dome piece for the corner. That would be fantastic. But I thought that looked really neat, and I made it my little hidden bedroom. If you go underneath the landing pads, you'll see the base computer and a short-range teleporter. That'll pop you up in stairs. Upstairs, we got a bed with some wall art, a little desk with some gadgets and foliage, statues, a couch. We can watch the big screen across the way. Oh, we got a plant missing here too. This is a plant holder. Storage for all your stuff, weapons, and yeah, we're missing a cold tap. Using these as hot and cold taps, and the blue one is missing again. That's unfortunate. But that's the base up here. It's really weird that these things don't pop in. It's not too big of a base. It's probably that it's on a community planet, and there's a lot of stuff. I'm not near anyone else, but just the communication buoys and other base icons might be causing a little bit of pop-in on my base here. Whatever it is, it seems to affect these going up or down as well, because sometimes I'll load in and half of them are all the way to the ground. Sometimes some of them will be halfway down. It's really weird and random. Seems to happen at every base that uses those. But unfortunately, some of the items built at this base aren't popping in. Oh, and you can fit these cubes in between this little gap that 2 landing pads fill. If you've always fall off while you're running between 2 landing pads because they only connect at this tiny little point here, you can fit one of these cubes in if the ground is the right height beneath it. It takes a little bit of finagling, but you can make that work too. Anyway, so that's Ocean Beaches. Sort of a place that I only visit when I want to meet up with other players, because I'm not gathering too many valuable resources here. I do have space for all the NPCs, the base NPCs you can hire, a place to do all your refining and combining, food processing. But don't use this as a main base, even though it is pretty much fully furnished. So one thing I like to do with my bases is make them livable spaces. I'm less into building the monuments or the statues. I really, really appreciate the people who do. You get some fantastic looking builds that are basically just like lookouts or, you know, like overlooks or huge statues. I think everyone has seen the Iron Giant statue built out of base pieces. That's really cool. Or that Death Star build, the crashed Death Star, that was amazing. But those aren't really places you have as a livable base for your character. Those are more like monuments and statues and like Mount Rushmore, you know, places to go and see and visit. It's an aesthetic. And I haven't built many of those myself. Haven't done a lot of that. Oh, as you can see, the game's lagging quite a bit when I get out of my ship. That took quite a while. So I think it is that there are so many other bases on this planet, even though they are out of draw range. Warping into this planet from a teleporter has a similar delay and lag. The screen goes black before you appear. But that's the same with every community planet I've been to, from ones in the hub to the UAS, even ones on Thranx's homeworld and places like that. Survival Bob's world has about 20 or so people on that first planet he started on, and yeah, that planet I get a bit of a short one, but yeah, any community planet. Don't worry, your game's not, well, probably not freezing. We have had a lot of crashes recently. People are suggesting that that's common before a big patch, so they're hopeful for a big patch, and I am too. But I won't speculate on whether or not it's coming or whether or not that's a sign of it. I'm just hopeful that it is. Anyhow, this has been Ocean Beaches. The name of the base, as I didn't take a peek at the computer. It's a reference you might get. We are at the GNG, and this is Son of a Beach. I'm in. I wanted to join in with the community when it was shown to me online, and I'm like, yep, I'll do that. I'll be in on this crew. Anyway, guys, if you want to join in on this place, you're more than welcome. Everyone is welcome. The address I've shown before when I went into camera mode, but let's put that up one more time. There it is in the bottom corner. If you need a Hoover here, if you want to get here to build a base, and you don't have a friend already to use the slingshot method, you should look that up online. It's a very nifty glitch to get around portal interference rules. But you can use this address to get to Ocean Beaches to visit. And if you have a friend, you can get here to build a base yourself. If not, look online for a ride. Lots of people on Discord, both in Sword and in the GekNip Gang, their Discords will offer you rides here if you're nice. This is on PC normal, but this planet is inhabited across multiple versions of No Man's Sky. And now with crossplay, you'll be able to visit from pretty much any system. Anyway, guys, have a good time. See you next time.